Hi guys, and welcome back from Carly at the Apothecary on this not actually too chilly December mid-morning. It's December 27th and I thought I'd come out and see if anything is surviving our weather and see what we can find. So remember, don't pick anything unless you're 100% sure. Check with the book, check with the internet, check with the foraging page. There's some really good ones on Facebook. Or check with the forager that you know, who might know better than you. Always make sure you've got 100% permission before you pick anything. Avoid any endangered species and avoid places where animals might have sprayed. Alright, let's get going. A quick disclaimer, I am not a doctor, I am not an ethnobotanist, I'm a forager, I've done a lot of years research, and I hope that you guys will go do your own first before you attempt picking any of the items we discuss. They're for informational purposes only. So I did a similar video like this last year this time, and this one I'd like to actually compare. We'd been in 8 months of lockdown when I did the last one, and everything was thriving with the decreased traffic and smoke in the air from the factories. So this year I'd like to see if we could at least get enough to cover our nutritional bases and maybe a couple of extra bits along the way. If you'd like more on the nutritional stuff, go ahead and watch the video I did last year. Not quite food, but a sign of things to come. The catkins are out on the hazelnut trees. Luckily, this one has one just a little bit further down, so these catkins can pollinate the little red flowers in the one around the corner in spring. And later on in the year, we'll hopefully, if we beat the squirrels, get a really good hazelnut harvest. So my first find is one of my favorites, although I do use it sparingly as it does have trace amounts of cyanide. It's garlic mustard, jack by the hedge, or Areola petiolata, high in vitamins A, C, E, and B vitamins. It also has trace minerals like copper, iron, magnesium, manganese, and selenium, and is a really good source of omega-3 fatty acids if you're eating wild. The roots have a horseradishy taste, and the seeds can actually be used to make a grainy garlic mustard. You can eat them raw or cook them in soups. My favorite method is making a pesto. Next on my list isn't my favorite for taste, however, with its vitamin A, C, some B-vits, iron, a few other trace minerals, its antiseptic and antibacterial quality, it really shouldn't be omitted. So the younger leaves are less bitter, and I normally add them to a pesto or in a soup. They can also be used as a poultice, and a tea made from these dried leaves is an amazing cough remedy. Anyone who knows me or has seen any of my videos know that this next one is my all-time favorite. Not only can all parts of the plant be used, from root to flower, but some part of it can normally be found all year round. High in vitamins A, B complex, C, magnesium, copper, zinc, phosphorus, in inulin. It's immune boosting, great for cleansing the liver, aiding the digestive system, and the main use we use it for in this house is to help keep blood sugars low. This time of year, the plant is no longer putting its energy into the foliage or the flowers, so the root system is big and chunky. So this one that I've pulled out of our garden, I will be chopping these up. Not only are the roots a great little healthy nibble, but roasted, they also make a great alternative for coffee. But if you'd like to pop over to YouTube and watch my 9 uses for dandelions, from a root to flower, please do. Next on my list is never at its best at this time of year, but as it is one of the rare sources of protein in wild edibles, it is a good one to know. It's not only that, it's also a great blood detoxifier, great for bone health and for easing hormone health. Also used as a cough and respiratory infections cure. It is high in niacin, thiamine, phosphorus, manganese, calcium, chromium, potassium, vitamin C, and vitamin B. The majority of the medicinal benefits are in the flower. However, the green chevron leaves and the roots can be consumed. However, they can cause indigestion, so they're best cooked or boiled first, and if the water is consumed, you will make use of all the lost vitamins in the boiling process. Hiding amongst the red clovers, and the next one on my list is one that I avoid the leaves of this time of year, as the yarrow leaves induce sweating and urination and stimulate blood flow to the uterus, and I find that a bit too intense. However, their wound healing and styptic powers are beyond belief, so I'll use the leaves for those. They're also antimicrobial, antispasmodic, anti-inflammatory, so when the flowers do come out, I'll be drying those and using them in a tea. Next on my finds should definitely be approached with caution. However, if you are brave enough to tackle the barbs with a thick pair of gloves and a sharp utensil, this one should not be omitted from any list. The stems, the leaves, the roots, and the flower are edible. However, I've never tried the flower. They are great for blood purification and detoxification, great for your liver and your kidneys. It's anti-inflammatory. It's great for detoxing from toxic poisoning and promotes new cell growth, helps with liver disease, gallstones, and the seeds have the highest concentration of the detoxifier. I use the stems mostly, as I will with this young one, strip all those barbs off, and then I use them very much like celery. Next on our journey, I came across another of my favorites. The cleavers, or the Allium aperine, are a great good fun when you're a kid, sticking them on your friends. However, they are also edible. They make a great spring tonic detox. They're great for bringing down fevers, kidney health, aiding the lymphatic system. They're a diuretic, so they can help flush your system. The roots make a great red permanent dye, and the seeds can be dried and roasted and used like a coffee. However, I stick mine in soups and stews and spin them all up, as I do find the hairs irritate my throat. Just a little long from them is one of my other favorites, the stinging nettles. The Urtica dioica is not only immune boosting and detoxifying, it's also anti-inflammatory. It can help with respiratory issues, minimize blood flow. It's full of vitamin C, iron, helps with red blood cell production. It can also restore energy levels, strengthen bones, teeth, hair. It's also full of calcium, magnesium, manganese, vitamin K, protein, and carotenoids. But remember to bring a thick pair of gloves and avoid eating the leaves when they're in seed. But if they are in seed and the seeds are hanging towards the ground, feel free to harvest them, dry them, and consume the seeds for not only a nutritional boost, but also a great energy boost. Now around my area, normally the birds have got all the edible ones of these at this time of year, but my favorite source of vitamin C, 60 times more than oranges, is the Rosa canina, or the dog rose hips. Also vitamin A, B5, vitamin K, and vitamin E. They're full of natural sugars, dietary fiber, beta carotene, also zinc, calcium, potassium, and polyphenols. Another that's usually died back at this time of year, but always happy to find, is the feverfew, or the Tanacetum parthenium. This one I always have in my medicine cabinet because it is great for migraine relief. It is also anti-inflammatory, helps with most pains, reduces hypertension, so aids heart health, and helps with blockages of the cardiovascular system. As I am not a fan of the taste, I normally infuse it either in water with honey or in a butter and garlic mix and drain it out after. Then, looking rather sparse but trying its hardest to come up, we have Herb Robert, or Geranium robertianum. It is high in A, B, and C, iron, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, and manganese, but mostly the Germanium antioxide is an oxygen catalyst and helps you utilize oxygen in your system. It's also an adaptogen, which helps regulate the immune system. In the height of spring, this one attempts to take over my garden with its beautiful pink flowers. It has a very mild taste and is a great addition in any soup. So as I was heading home, I came across this, which I basically use like chives or onions. It's mostly a flavoring with the same properties as those. This is the three-cornered leek, or the Allium Tri-Quetum, and it is mostly for flavoring. For me, obviously it has the same properties as an onion or a chive. As you can see, it has those 3 bits. I do grow this one at home when the wild garlic isn't in season, and the best way to tell it is inside those little white flowers, which you can't see at the moment as they've closed. There is a little green line going up each of the petals. Another I usually avoid, other than in small quantities, is the wood sorrel or the oxalis. I do love the lemony flavor of them, but as I am a kidney stone sufferer, and oxalic acid that they contain, and I have a calcium uptake issue, they're not a great one for me. But adding a couple of leaves to a salad or helping them season a nice fish works for me just fine. Now these do closely resemble the clover, however their leaves are heart-shaped and not round or oval like the clover, and usually have single pink or yellow flowers rather than the big bulb and cluster of flowers that the clovers have in either white or pink. And just a little bit further on from that, I came across a little group of wild carrot leaves. Now these ones are clearly in their first year, so they haven't flowered yet, and that's when we want to dig deep and see if we can find these roots. I didn't have a shovel with me, and I couldn't do it one-handed with my camera, so I thought I'd have a little dig and bring some home. Now remember, you shouldn't uproot anything if you don't have permission. However, this is my friend's garden and I do have permission. Now, as there are quite a few poisonous members of the umbellifer family, I do say avoid this one unless you know what you're doing or you really have to. The ground was very tough, and as you can see, regardless of all my digging, I really didn't get much for the energy that I expelled, but you can see that they look just like white carrots. After all that digging and being out for 5 hours, it's now getting dark, but as I was walking past the park, I noticed this row of white willow trees, the Salix alba. Now, these contain salicylic acid, or the same compound as aspirin. This one, I say go do your research on all the plants we've discussed and make sure you're 100% sure before you try it. But obviously, aspirin is one of those big ones, but this bark has the same compound in it. So I do not have permission to pick this one, but I will keep an eye out, and this one would act as a great painkiller. Thank you guys for coming back to the Herbothecary. Hope you enjoyed this video. As I said, have a look at the others. We've got plenty more. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Lets us know that you've enjoyed the content and what we should carry on. Feel free to comment down below if there's anything else you'd like us to cover, and we'll get to it. So thanks for coming back. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye. Here's just a short list of a few videos that we do, including the items that we came across today. However, if you do come back to next week's videos, we'll be making a pesto using the garlic mustard, plantain, dandelion leaf, herb rabbit, wood sorrel, and three-cornered leeks. We'll also be using a little bit of the wood sorrel to stuff a salmon with the thistle stem made with roast potatoes and roast veg. We'll also be making a cleavers and rose hip tonic, yarrow and stinging nettle soup, and we'll be trying out that dandelion root, roasting it and making a coffee alternative. See you soon. Bye.